Why would you blame the people for reaching for the heavens instead of those who cursed them? You are listening to the Midnight Radio. Hello, listeners. I know it may seem a tad bit rushed, but we, that is to say, me and MS, have decided to escape soon. And I do mean soon, but I'm getting there. Pluto, as it turns out, will not be joining us. She does not appear to want to leave, and I do wonder why, but oh well. Maybe she has too much left here. Maybe she is simply worried about what lies ahead. I used to feel that way about escaping the lab. I told Pluto that much, and it is working out quite well for me. I also told her that 5,000 years ago, people only got somewhere because they chose to reach for a place, a dream, that others wouldn't have thought possible. Pluto also told me that because they tried to reach for the heavens, humanity is now divided. Her conclusion? Stay out of places you should not be in. Anyways, Pluto isn't coming with us, and it'll only be me and MS escaping, I guess. MS said she wants a fresh start. And don't we all? Of course, I want to leave because the Megacity is a death trap, but I don't think MS minds that. You can see her walking through the street, by herself sometimes, not minding the bone-chilling screams down the block. I think MS just doesn't have anything else worth staying for. When you think about it, it's kind of sad. I mean, MS only really has us, doesn't she? Parents dead, no trace of her other friends. I want to leave because of an entirely different reason. It isn't a good reason, but it is reason enough. I want to meet the escaped experiments. The 5 original escapees. You know, EO27, EO29, EO30, EO41, and EO44. I don't actually know their names, but maybe they didn't have any actual names. Not ones in records, at least. You know how it is in the lab. Numbers and all. EO27 seems so cool. I mean, he escaped the lab. He was the first. Even I can't say that. I don't know much about him or the other escaped experiments, but he was the son of one of the old scientists. And that is where my knowledge ends. Okay, so maybe that is not the only reason. I want to look for my parents. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but I just need to know. Why would they give me up to the lab? To the scientists? What kind of parent does that? I don't even know where to start, honestly. I don't have a family name. Not one that I know of, at least, so there. But I can still look for them, right? I can still hope for the best, right? Yeah, never mind. We plan to escape on the 7th of December, on a Thursday. Are they going to miss us when we are gone? Are they going to miss our very presence? I don't know. I'm not sure if I care. They didn't want my broken parts. They didn't miss me when I left the lab. Why should they miss me now? I shouldn't even think about it. I'm not scared of them. I'm not, and we'll make it out alive. Even if we don't, I will float over the silver borders of the megacity, my ashes hovering in the chilly winds, and I'll look back, waving, crying to you. Will you miss me? I'm not sure if I'll see you again. I'm not sure if I'll see any of you again, really, but you don't want to see me anyway, so maybe I should just stop. Me and MS don't really have a fixed way to escape. We first thought about scaling the wall, but then I realized that there are probably a whole lot of security cameras around the borders. I could try to disable them, but someone could be alerted of our presence before I finish. Then I thought of going through the sewers because there might be an opening on the other side of the wall, but MS said that it is a bit of a long shot. She also said that it would take forever for us to find the end, and we would probably drown by an incoming wave of water. Apparently that happened to a few people. According to them, at least. After that came the idea that maybe there is a passage, or tunnel, out of the walls. The megacity cannot rely on itself. Sure, we have labs and medicine, but that does not do much for a species that relies heavily on food and water for survival, does it? So, maybe there is a tunnel leading in and out of the city, which people, or specifically the government, use to get their much-needed resources. That is the best plan we have, I guess. MS and I are going to split up to find the tunnel, and if one of us finds it, we will tell the other. MS also has one of the watches, which is pretty helpful. I still don't fully understand how they work, but I did find some sort of engraving on the back side of the watch. Just a T and A intersecting, but still. It's something, I guess. Anyways, once we find the exit, we just pick or break any of the locks that are on it, fight a few cyborgs and bots, you know, same old, same old. And hey, now you come in, listeners. If you have been listening the entire time, you would know that me and MS are in the Megacity. The Megacity hangs off a cliff into the Undercity, so maybe that can help you find us. Anyways, we are escaping on December 7, the Thursday in 2 weeks. I'm not sure who is listening to me ramble on here, or if I can trust you, but if you can help, that would be wonderful. Just a ride out. We have a backup plan, as always, because MS thinks that no one is listening. Truth be told, I'm not sure either. So, if all else fails, we have MS's hoverboard and Pluto's motorbike, which she said she can give to us for the time being. After we escape, then we will make the long journey to the closest city, Scar City. At least, that is what the old geography books say. Emma said that she found a few of the banned books in the back of the library, and she took them. I'm not quite sure how accurate it is, given the stained, ripped pages and the graffiti on it, but I guess it is the best we have. Scar City seems like such a great place. So many people, so many buildings, and so many things to do, but it feels off. It gives me the same feeling as the laboratory, if that makes sense. It feels wrong. But it is either that or Discory, and that is much farther. So, I guess that's that. Tomorrow I will talk to Scott and Amy. Or just Scott. Those two can barely stand being in the same room. Anyways, I'll talk to Scott, and maybe me and MS can just, swing by for a chat. Maybe just bring a few of the older experiments along with us when we leave while we're at it. Maybe just wreak havoc on the lab. Just a little chaos. Anyways, me and MS are going to grab the older experiments. That is, the ones over the age of 8. None of the under 8 experiments have ever died, and that's according to me and the laboratory's records. So, we'll get the over 8 experiments and leave. Done. Cool. We come, we take, we leave, and we're out. Of course, I will try to convince Scott to leave with us. Amy is a given. She has always wanted to leave the lab. But Scott does not want to leave, and I do not know why, given his life is on the line. It only takes a few seconds for a cyborg to attack someone. I'll talk to Scott. I have to try. If he doesn't want to, then I guess I just go without him. his loss. He could be out of the lab now if he wanted to be, but he doesn't, and he isn't, and I guess it's not my place to say what he should and shouldn't do. Anyways, while MS and Scott gather the older experiments, I will go search the records. While I was at the lab as a subject myself, I accidentally walked into a room full of file cabinets and monitors. I'm not quite sure how to get there from the entrance, but I'll just retrace my steps from my old room. When I found it the first time, I realized that the files were sorted by projects and subjects, the oldest, or first subjects, at the back of the cabinet. I found my file, but I never bothered reading it. I did not read any of them. I just skimmed through who was in the files, but maybe that was a mistake on my part. I intend to correct that mistake. Once I find the records, I'll take mine, Gears, Mike, and Emo's. I'll also look for the records of experiment 027, 029, 030, 041, and 044, but it might take a while to find, considering the file in the front of their project was already labeled experiment 302. There is quite a lot to go through now. Once I have the files, me, MS, the experiments, and maybe Scott, and Amy, if I can find her, will leave, cause some chaos, and escape the Megacity. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Once I have the files, me, MS, the experiments, and maybe Scott, and Amy, if I can find her, will leave, cause some chaos, and escape the Megacity. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Before all of that, though, I will talk to Pluto about borrowing her motorbike. If we can't borrow her bike, we'll find an alternative. December 7, Thursday, approximately 10 p.m., at the gates of the Megacity. Help us, listeners. Help us escape the prison which is the Megacity. Good night. Things aren't always as they seem, so never trust your senses. Good night, listeners. Good night.